buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into Are You Fully Charged by Tom Rath.
Yeah, this book is pretty interesting.
It's not just like, one of those good vibes only kind of things.
You know what's really cool about this book?
Yeah.
Tom Rath, he's been living with cancer for over 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
So when he talks about this idea of, living a fulfilling life, it comes from like a really different place.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so I think we're going beyond just like surviving, right?
Oh,
We're
right.
digging into like, how do we actually thrive?
Yeah.
And this book kind of starts off by like challenging this whole idea of just like the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, instead of chasing those like quick hits of happiness, fleeting moments, it's really more about cultivating a sense of meaning.
Okay.
And there's a difference there because if you're always looking for those like quick bursts of happiness from things like material possessions and stuff, they can actually work against us.
So you're saying by like trying so hard to be happy,
Yeah.
we might actually be less happy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I need to know more about this.
It seems counterintuitive, but the research actually shows that people who focus more on meaning than just chasing pleasure end up feeling more fulfilled overall.
Really?
And it even shows up in like healthier gene patterns.
Wow.
There was a study published in Proceedings in the National Academy of Sciences.
Okay.
And they looked at gene expression, and they found that people who are focused on meaning actually had a decrease in the expression of genes that are associated with inflammation and stress responses.
Okay, so it's not just like a feel-good concept.
Yeah.
It's like literally impacting us at a cellular level.
Exactly.
Okay, color me intrigued.
Right.
But like, okay, how do we actually find this meaning then?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
The book defines meaning as using your strengths to contribute to something bigger than yourself. It encourages us to ask questions like, how does my work connect to a larger purpose? Or would I still find this valuable even if I wasn't getting paid?
Right, yeah.
So it's really pushing us beyond, just our own immediate like wants and desires and to really consider the impact that we're making.
So it's not necessarily about like some huge career overhaul.
Right.
But it's about finding that sense of purpose within what we're already doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And the book actually gives a really great example.
Yeah.
It talks about this woman named Haruko Nitsu, who's an airport cleaner in Japan. And she actually became known as a national treasure.
Oh, wow.
Because of her dedication to her work.
An airport cleaner.
Oh, wow.
A national treasure.
Right.
That definitely like makes me rethink what meaningful work can look like.
Yeah. It really challenges our assumptions.
So tell me more about her. Tell me more about Haruko.
Yeah, so her story is really all about how meaning doesn't come from like your job title. It comes from how you approach your work.
Okay.
She saw her role as being so much more than just cleaning, Yeah. She was creating a safe and welcoming environment, especially for like children traveling. It was really that shift in perspective and that connection to a larger purpose that made her work so meaningful.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring. It makes you realize that we really can find meaning in any job.
Yeah.
If we focus on that positive impact, right?
Exactly.
Even in small ways.
It's all about intention.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is when you shift your focus from what's in it for me to how can I contribute, you often find that increased energy and motivation just follow naturally.
It's like you're tapping into like this wellspring of energy that comes from feeling connected to something bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And building on this whole concept of energy, let's talk about the book's next pillar. Positive interactions.
Okay.
We all know like how one negative person can just like drain the energy from a room.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Totally.
But what about the flip side?
Oh, yeah. I'm all about that positive energy.
Right.
But I guess what's like the secret sauce here?
Yeah.
Is it just about surrounding ourselves with like happy people?
It's a little more nuanced than that, I think. It's not just about those big like grand gestures or these, super intense moments of joy.
Okay.
It's really about the frequency of those smaller positive interactions that actually make a real difference. The book actually dives into some research that shows that consistent positive interactions, even tiny ones, they help build resilience and boost our mood.
So instead of like waiting for these big wins to feel good, we can actually like create this little like mini energy boosts throughout the day just through these smaller interactions.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And the book gives some pretty practical advice on how to increase these. It suggests aiming for like an 80% positive ratio in your conversation.
80%?
Yeah.
So like for every like complaint, you've got to counterbalance that with like 4 positive things.
Yeah, think about it.
This is a challenge.
Think about how much negative words tend to like stick with us.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Totally.
There's research from UCLA showing that negative experiences actually have a much greater impact on our brains than positive ones.
Right.
So we need to be really conscious about counteracting that negativity with a healthy dose of positivity.
So it's really about actively like shaping the tone of our interactions.
Yeah.
And not letting that negativity dominate.
Right.
I'm starting to see how this all connects. You know, like the meaningful work that fuels a sense of purpose. And then these positive interactions, like they create these ripple effects of energy that keep us going throughout the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It all works together.
Cool.
And speaking of keeping our energy up, let's move on to the book's final pillar, recharging.
All right, bring on the self-care strategies.
Right.
I am here for it.
Are you fully charged? Really emphasizes that physical well-being is super important for maintaining those high energy levels.
Okay.
It covers the basics we always hear about, like, you know, eat nutritious food, get enough sleep.
Right.
But it also has some surprising findings.
Ooh, okay. What are some of the unexpected energy boosting tips?
One that really stood out to me is the power of smiling.
Oh.
Even when you don't really feel like it.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
Just like faking a smile can actually impact my energy.
It sounds too good to be true, I know, but there's actual science behind it.
Wow.
There is a study published in Psychological Science that found that people who couldn't frown because of Botox treatments actually reported lower rates of depression.
Really?
Yeah, so it seems like the act of smiling, even if it's forced, can actually signal to your brain that you're feeling better.
Huh. I'm definitely going to try that one.
Right.
What are some other surprising recharging tips?
The book also emphasizes the importance of incorporating movement throughout your day.
Okay.
And it's not just about hitting the gym for an hour. It's about counteracting those negative effects that come from sitting for too long.
So, like, those reminders to stand up and stretch every hour actually do make a difference.
We really do, yeah.
Okay, good to know.
There was a study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine, and they found that prolonged sitting is actually linked to an increased risk of chronic diseases.
Really?
Yeah. And it can also negatively impact your energy levels.
Oh, wow.
So incorporating movement, even if it's just a quick walk around the office or something, is crucial.
Oh, I'm liking these actionable tips.
Right.
Anything else?
The book also goes into sleep, of course.
Yeah.
Cites research showing that elite performers, like athletes and CEOs, average about 8.5 hours of sleep a night.
Wow, that's more than I get.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes you think. But yeah, it highlights how missing even a few hours of sleep can have the same impact on your cognitive function as having several alcoholic drinks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely don't want to be walking around with like sleep-deprived brain fog.
No, not good.
So we've covered a lot here. Yeah, the importance of meaning, the power of positive interactions, and the essentials of recharging.
Yeah, those 3 pillars.
This has been an awesome deep dive so far.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
But before we wrap up this first part,
yeah,
I'm just curious, like, what's one key takeaway from the book that's like really resonated with you?
You know, what really stuck with me was that emphasis on finding meaning in our work.
Yeah.
It's not about like striving for some, you know, grandiose purpose.
Right.
It's more about finding ways to infuse our daily activities with a sense of contribution and positive impact.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that we all have the capacity to make a difference.
Yeah.
Regardless of our like job title or what we do.
Yeah. And that leads me to a question for our listeners.
Okay.
You know, considering this idea of finding meaning in your work, what is one small step that you can take this week to bring more purpose into your daily activities?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It doesn't have to be a big change.
Yeah.
Just a small shift in perspective.
I love that. That's a really good question to ponder.
Yeah, something to think about.
We encourage all of you to think about that and see what small adjustments you can make.
You know, even those seemingly small actions can create a ripple effect.
Totally.
So don't underestimate the power of those choices.
So true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll be back in the next part to delve a little deeper into these strategies.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Okay. You know, it's amazing how this book ties that idea of like finding meaning to having more energy.
Yeah, it's like they fuel each other.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you can't have one without the other. And it makes me think back to, Haruko Nitsu's story again, that feeling of making a real difference.
Right.
Even in a job that some might see as ordinary, can be so energizing.
I think it highlights that meaning isn't just something that like you find. Yeah. It's something that you create. Mm-hmm. It's that choice to see the value and the impact in what you're doing.
Totally.
No matter where you are or, what your job title is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's about asking yourself, like, how can I make a positive impact, even in this, seemingly small task?
Right, yeah.
And that can be really powerful.
Okay, I'm feeling inspired to kind of, like, look at my own daily routine a little differently.
Good.
But before we get, like, too carried away with meaning, let's get back to those practical tips for, like, boosting those positive interactions.
Yes, let's do it.
Because that 80% positivity ratio really, like, stuck with me.
It's a tough goal.
It is a tough goal.
Yeah.
But it just underscores, like, how much our brains like to focus on the negative.
It's true. It's like we're hardwired to spot the problems and the complaints first.
It's so true. And it's so easy to, like, get sucked into complaining.
Yeah.
Especially if, like, everyone around you is doing it. It's like this negativity echo chamber.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're trying to hit that 80%,
right,
what are, like, some ways that we can actually do that?
Well, the book has some good suggestions, simple things like, starting meetings by celebrating wins or, just making an effort to, like, give someone a genuine compliment.
Right.
It's about shifting the focus toward the positive.
So, like, retraining your brain to, like, look for the good instead of just automatically going to the bad.
Exactly. Another practical tip the book offers is to, like, prioritize experiences over material possessions, especially those experiences that you can share with other people.
That reminds me of some research I've seen that people who spend money on experiences tend to, like, report being happier than those who spend money on material things.
That's exactly it.
So is that what the book is getting at?
Totally.
Okay.
And these experiences don't have to be, like these extravagant, expensive things.
Yeah.
It's more about connecting with others and creating memories.
It could be as simple as, like, sharing a meal with a friend or going for a hike or playing a game.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's those shared moments.
And those experiences also feed into those positive interactions.
Oh, that's true.
We were talking about earlier. So it's like a win-win.
I like it.
Right.
Speaking of win-wins, the book also talks about the power of giving genuine praise.
Oh, yeah. It seems like such a small thing.
It does.
But it can have a big impact.
Yeah.
The key is to be specific and sincere.
Right.
Like a generic, good job, that's fine, but it doesn't have the same impact as, like, really tailored praise.
Yeah. So, like, instead of saying, good job, you might say, I really appreciate how you handled that difficult client.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your patience and problem-solving skills were amazing.
Right, right. It's about, like, acknowledging their effort and recognizing those specific strengths.
Yes.
It feels a lot more meaningful.
It's way more motivating and encouraging.
And then I think when you give that kind of genuine praise, you're not only boosting the other person's energy, but you're also contributing to, like, a more positive, supportive environment for everyone.
It's like a ripple effect of good vibes.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
Meaningful work, positive interactions, genuine praise.
It's all connected.
It all builds on each other to create a more, like, energized and fulfilling life.
And of course, we can't forget about recharging.
Yes.
We can't give our best if we're running on empty.
Right.
So taking care of our physical well-being is essential.
Absolutely. We touched on, like, movement and sleep earlier, but are there any other aspects of recharging that we should, like, highlight?
Well, the book goes into detail about, like, the importance of nutrition, but it's not about, restrictive diets or anything like that. It's more about making choices that really fuel your body and mind.
So it's like quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Nourishing your body with, like, whole foods, fruits and vegetables, things that give you sustained energy.
Right.
And not just, like, that sugar rush and then you crash.
And what I like is it emphasizes that even small changes can make a big difference.
Okay, that feels a lot less overwhelming.
Right.
Than trying to, like, overhaul my entire diet overnight.
So it's about making those gradual changes that you can stick with.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
And remember, recharging isn't just about, like, what you eat. It's also about how you move.
Right. We talked about combating that sitting, but What are some other ways to, like, incorporate movement? I'm always looking for, like, easy ways to sneak it in.
The book has some simple ideas.
Okay, good.
Like taking the stairs instead of the elevator.
Yeah.
Or parking farther away from your destination so you have to walk a bit more.
Right, yeah.
Or even just standing up and stretching every hour.
Those are good, easy ones.
Simple things.
You can actually, like, fit in.
Yeah.
And I think don't underestimate the power of, like, getting outside.
Oh, yeah.
And connecting with nature.
For sure.
Even just like a short walk in the park can do wonders.
Absolutely. Fresh air and sunshine can really boost your mood.
Yeah.
And speaking of mood, let's go back to that smiling thing.
Yes.
Remember that.
I am still so curious about that.
Isn't it cool that
Yeah.
something as simple as smiling can actually change how you feel?
Yeah, it's wild.
And the research is really interesting. Like, those studies with the Botox treatments,
Yeah.
they found that even when people couldn't physically frown, they still had less negative emotions.
It makes you wonder, like, what other mind-body tricks are out there that we don't even know about yet?
Yeah.
It's crazy how connected our mind and body really are.
It's making me think that, like, this whole idea of being fully charged isn't about, like, willpower so much as it is about understanding those connections.
Yeah.
And, like, working with them, not against them.
Exactly. I think it's about using the power of our thoughts and actions and our environment to create a more positive feedback loop.
Yeah, this deep dive is, like, really eye-opening.
Good. I'm glad.
We've covered so much, from meaning in our work to boosting those positive interactions to recharging. It's like we're building a toolkit for a more energized life.
And all those things work together.
Yeah.
Each element kind of builds on the other.
Right. It's like a recipe for a life filled with, like, energy and joy.
I like that. Yeah.
And I love that it's not about, like, the big dramatic gestures.
Right.
It's about those small, sustainable choices.
Exactly. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports you.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
Okay. And in our final part, we're going to bring it all together.
That's good. And see how to actually apply these principles
Right.
in a way that feels like, authentic and sustainable.
Can't wait.
It's kind of amazing when you think about it.
What's that?
Like, we actually have a lot more control over our energy levels than we think.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just something that, like, happens to us.
Right. We're not just, like, passively waiting around.
Yeah, we're not just victims of our circumstances. We can actually do something about it.
It's about being proactive.
And this book, Are You Fully Charged?
Yeah.
Really gives us, like, a framework for that.
It does.
It breaks it down into these pieces we can actually work with.
Mm-hmm. Those 3 pillars.
Yeah.
Meaning positive interactions, recharging.
And it's not about being, like, high energy all the time.
Oh, no. Definitely not.
We're going to have our ups and downs.
It's natural.
But it's about how we manage those.
Right. How we ride those waves.
But, what works for one person might not work for another.
For sure. It's not one size fits all.
So it's about finding what works for you.
Finding your own rhythm.
It all comes back to that question you asked earlier.
Oh.
About, taking that one small step.
Yeah. What's that one thing you can do?
To bring more purpose to what you're doing each day.
It's like a challenge.
It is.
To be intentional.
Yeah, it's about making that choice.
Right. Not just letting life happen to you.
To be in the driver's seat.
Exactly.
We don't have to wait for some big opportunity to, like, change the world.
It's about those small moments.
We can make a difference right now.
Yeah, and the everyday stuff.
And those choices can have a ripple effect.
They really can.
On us and on the people around us.
It all adds up.
This has been a great deep dive.
I agree.
I'm feeling, like, really energized by all this.
Me too.
And I think the big takeaway for me is we really can create a life that's more fulfilling.
It's within our reach.
And it starts with these simple principles.
Those 3 pillars.
Finding meaning, those positive interactions.
And taking care of ourselves.
So don't get caught up in being perfect.
No, just focus on progress.
One step at a time.
Exactly.
So try putting these ideas into practice this week.
Yeah, experiment, see what works.
And celebrate those wins.
Big and small.
And remember, this is supposed to be fun.
Oh, yeah. Don't take it too seriously.
Enjoy the journey.
Keep that sense of curiosity.
This is all about boosting our energy.
And living our best lives.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, stay charged up.